Good guys, what's good? We are back again and it is Saturday for trading analysis. We're just going to be looking on this past week. I already have prior to this recording. I just need to do it for you guys just so you guys know that I'm actually always trying to improve and get better and better. Obviously I get distracted here and there. Last week was profitable. This week was unprofitable. Just keeping up to date with everything. It is what it is. It happens, and I know exactly why I was not profitable this week, because this week presented me with really good opportunities. I just didn't act to them on certain times, and I didn't actually do enough analysis, which you guys will see in the video. So obviously, if you guys enjoy this video, hit that like, subscribe. If you guys want to join me to the top, traders headquarters down below. And I'm just trying to get through this intro so we can get straight into it and we can fix what we did wrong, or we can just refine what we're already doing to get more out of the trade. Anyway, hope you all enjoy. Catch you all in the video. This is how it's looking on the 30-minute time frame. We're just going to go top down analysis on the 30-minute all the way down to the 5 minutes, just so we can see where we should be actually aiming and what's like the best area for us to take a buy in. So we can clearly see we've been ranging for probably today and on Friday, not so much Thursday, but we can clearly see that we're still kind of in a downtrend. We can clearly see it could be a downtrend, it could be an uptrend. Right now we're kind of ranging, so taking a buy or a sell doesn't really matter. There's not a clear pathway which way we're actually going. So judging from this, since price is heading up, first we have to put the phase 1 over, which is probably going to be something like this. Right, put the liquidity lines right here, and we just want to make sure it's mostly outside the 20% range. So here is not even a probable or good decision to be made, it's just the closest one. So that's probably why we've had a position here. The reason why I say certain things like this, guys, is because it's still within the 20% deviation. Like if I use this tool right here, you can see at the top right here it says 14%. If it went all the way up here, which it looks like it really didn't, it actually came here, which is 12%. We want it to be more like 20%, because if it's 20%, it's a higher chance for price to come back. Anyway, we are looking for sells if price continues to go up, which I'll just give it one more 30-minute, see what happens. You can clearly see right here on the 30-minute time frame, this right here is phase 2, the manipulation. We expect this to also be manipulation. Everyone is thinking buys, buys, buys. We are thinking sells, right? So we go down to the 5-minute. We see what's happening. We know exactly why this is happening, because price, first of all, pushed up here outside the phase 1, making it phase 2. And then we expect price to grab liquidity from the previous liquidity it just made, so everyone thinks this is a buy. We think it's a sell, but remember Mondays act a bit weird, so this is when I risk less. Right, it was closer as well, guys. This was closer. So if this fails, I would have put my sell right here, exactly how it was. Probably down here, but price didn't really give me an opportunity. So this is where it was. Let's just see what happens. So I just got completely rejected. And remember, guys, the reason why I said it wasn't a good place to take a sell was because it was within the 20%. Let's see how far price went up. Price went up almost 20% and then started coming down. So if I was to take a sell here, this would be a better area due to the fact that price has still not pushed down yet it's grabbed 2 liquidities. One here, and probably others that I haven't identified. Not much of anything I've identified, but the previous weekly open price here, this is the new weekly open price, but previous weekly open price was right here. So it is a good area to take a sell at, and it's also outside the 20% deviation. So if I was to put my 1 to 10, this would have been a better area just to take a trade in general. If I held this down, let's see what would have happened. So in general, it looks like price just didn't want to come down today. Sometimes it happens. That's what happens on Monday sometimes. The reason why this area was better than these 2 areas is because price was outside the 20%. It really grabbed liquidity without pushing down, and we're still expecting price to push down. So let's just say I was really persistent, right? Just today, I was just like, you know what? I really think this is going to work out. Let's see if price can do it within our time. I would have taken a sell probably if price touched the monthly open price, but it didn't. So I wouldn't have traded after this. Would have ended in a loss today. It is what it is, but it would usually be only 1 loss. It wouldn't be 2. That's why I only took 1 loss down here, because of a few reasons. 1, it's Monday, and 2, price didn't want to do what I wanted to do at the certain area, so it is what it is. So lesson to learn from today is obviously risk less, which I did, so that's already done. And if price just doesn't do what you want it to do, then just leave it, come back the next day, and just really revise what you could do better. Okay, coming to Tuesday, you can clearly see price is giving us the phase one right here. As this consolidation is ranging, and honestly we can have a more clearer way where we would like to take a sell or a buy at due to the fact of how price is moving. So we can clearly see that price can obviously take a sell here just because of what happened previously from the market, and price is just coming back up for the retracement, or it could just be a reversal. Either way, taking a buy or sell in this situation is still good, just depending on what price presents us with. So right now, since price broke down to the downside, we could be expecting a buy, and that's why I have a position for a buy down here. Let's see what happens. This was also the day where I slept through. It's so annoying, but I slept through this day, and I'll show you the reason why it's a really good opportunity to buy and why people would think sell. Obviously, you see this huge downward movement, people would be like, no, okay, it's time to sell. Like, it's time to sell, especially since it's hitting an area where people would be looking for sells at just because of what price did before. Right, all this supply, so cool. Not gonna lie, it would be a good sell for this time period. But I'm looking for the buy due to the fact that price has already grabbed liquidity, and I expect this to come up. Grab liquidity right here, grab another liquidity right here, and it was just grabbing everything. It also went through the weekly open price. That's why this is even more of a certainty for price to come back up. And you can clearly see this is what I slept through. I probably woke up around here. Price was already gone. I was at least waiting for the pullback. And guess what, guys? There was no pullback. So price continued to go up, continued to go up. It was literally the best trade I could have had. I could have been up this weekend if I was in this trade, but I slept through, and then I was being patient enough for price to come back, but it didn't come back. So I actually lost the best opportunity right here. It happens sometimes, and the reason why I would have gotten out here is because what price is doing. I usually don't wait for the first one. First time price comes out, it's okay. Second time, let's see what happens. Yeah, this is where I would have hopped out. Due to the fact that when price hops out 2 times, especially when it hasn't hit the open, when it hasn't hit the middle average price, which I honestly would have hopped out here, which I did. But the reason why I would have waited for the second one, because usually the first time price hops out, it hops out of the average price area of the phase one before it actually comes back in, and then the next time it hops out, it usually comes back down. So you can clearly see before news happens as well, you know, diddle daddle. News happens, instantly respects the 61%, I'm pretty sure, 61 or 78% on the Fibonacci, which I'll quickly draw up for you guys, which is an area where price has a good chance of buying back up. Something like this. You can clearly see price came here, completely respected the weekly open price, and it grabbed all these 5-minute liquidities, and on top of that, it also respected the 78.60%, which is a good place to buy as well. But price didn't stay there for that long. I didn't have a buy limit there. So I just couldn't re-enter in if I even wanted to. So this day was full of opportunities. I missed out. Price continued to go up. I lost the opportunity. It is what it is. It happens sometimes. And you just have to learn from my mistakes. And my mistakes here was just to not sleep in. Because if I didn't sleep in, I would have seen this perfect opportunity. Would have gotten a perfect buy. And I would have been up so much for the rest of the week. Even if I lost as much as I did continuing the week, I would have still been good. But anyway, let's continue on. So now we can clearly see price is still making newer highs. If price was to take a sell now, it would go down now, but it didn't. So we do expect price to continue going up. In this situation, we should be having like a more of a buy biased, right? Obviously, we'll look at higher time frames as well, but for our strategy now, we don't necessarily need to rely on higher time frames, because price, just from how price is moving right now, you can just see price wants to go up. The reason why I also say price wants to go up is because price came all the way down and grabbed all of this liquidity, guys. So much liquidity here that we don't need price to come down again for a while, because this move right here kind of grabbed most of the liquidity that if price comes down all the way here, we could expect price just to drill down and collect everything. So, you know, let's just see what Wednesday presents us with, but we can clearly see here, lessons to learn is obviously be on time. 1, don't sleep in. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done. 3 is just to identify that the trend, I guess. But that's really it. Like, we couldn't have done anything. Really, just a lesson to learn is just to be on time and don't sleep in. Because if I didn't do that, I would have had a 1 to 3 today, been happy this whole week, and I would have been profitable once again. So let's go to Wednesday and let's see what happens. Wednesday comes along and we can clearly see that we should be looking for buys, but price presented us with a sell for the time it gave us and just what everything was doing. And honestly, what we should have done today was probably not even trade at all if we really cared about the market structure and like how price was moving. But yeah, during this time, price just presented me with a sell, and it is what it is. Let's just forward this. That's why I have a sell position in. Clearly see nothing really happening from the London Open. In this situation, we knew this was supposed to be a buy. So right here, guys, we could have clearly seen that this could have been a buy. Put in one right here. Just because price already grabbed so much liquidity down here that we don't really expect price to come back down here again. But if it did, I would have taken a buy right here. So in this case, I could have risked to take a buy here with like a 15 pip stop loss. Just because we know the market direction now. Price kind of broke structure right here. The reason why I say this is we go out. You can clearly see this is where people would have probably taken sells around here. But since price didn't really do it, as you can see here, it's huge. You can say it's a fake out because, if price was going to grab this liquidity, it should have probably grabbed more liquidity, but it didn't. So in this case, we're looking for buys. And, since price grabbed so much liquidity the day before, we can expect price to continue going up. In this case, price pushed up early, right? I could have recognized it, but for my market cycle sort of identification, it was presenting me with a sell here. But if you obviously see the directional trend, according to the market cycles, it didn't really connect. But in this situation, right, if I was to remove my supposed trade that I could have taken for the trade that I did take, I'll speed it up a bit. Price did push down, but it pushed down for the retracement. So in this case, price hit my area where it's just brought to break even. So this is a free trade. And I should have realized in this situation how price was just staying there and I wasn't really doing anything. Like as soon as it did something like this, should have probably taken out right here. And it could have gone for something so small, but just small profits. Actually, no, sorry. Let me just backtrack that. This trade here was perfect just because price could have still pushed down. It could have literally come up here, grabbed liquidity, continued pushing down, but it didn't. It just happened how it happened, and this is just a break-even trade. It's perfect what I would have done. There is liquidity up here. I forgot where it is. I think this is somewhere here. I'm just going to put liquidity somewhere here because there's liquidity around this area. That's why I had my stop loss to be 17.5 pips, because I did expect price to at least come up first before it came down. But in this case, price just shot down first and then it started coming back up. I got stopped out because there was big news coming later on, guys. And I got stopped out just because I brought it to break even, and that's just a part of my strategy. It saves me from things like this. If I was still in the trade, this would have happened to me and I would have lost more than expected, which wasn't nice. So from this, I should have actually been in the buy just from the very start, from the 6 a.m. and just taken a buy from daily open, just from how price is still acting. You can clearly see price grab liquidity, then it stopped grabbing liquidity and it just started tracing up. So I should have probably taken a buy right here. This would have been around 6. Yep, 6 o'clock from this candle right here. Should have taken a buy. And it's also on daily, monthly open price, which it respected. So, that could have been a good area for me to take a buy. So you can say I had the wrong direction right now. I was just looking from the market cycle point of view, which it did play out well, but only for a break even. So in this case, price just later on did its thing. I could have taken a sell here, but I didn't, just because price pushed too far from the liquidity and all these areas where I just didn't expect price to do what it did. It hasn't even come back to average price area for me to even decide what I should do. So, I just left this day, went to the next day just because it was just too complicated. And sometimes you just have to walk away and just revisit it at the end of the week, or just revisit it at next day just to see what happened and what you could improve on. Let's go to Thursday. All right, Thursday came around and we can clearly see for this what's happening with price. We have to try and identify phase 1, right? And in these situations, it's hard to identify phase 1 just because it hasn't given me a way to box it in. But in this case, I boxed it in here just because I was assuming this is phase 1. And from this buy right here was a foolish buy, because the only confluences that I really had, which could have actually helped me go up, and the reason why I took a buy here was because I knew the direction was up. I just thought price was going to go up here, which it didn't. Yeah, we can clearly see I took a buy here just because of how price was acting, and this was before everything happened. You can obviously see the push up and it came back down, respected the 61% area, especially when my time was coming up. So I took a trade a bit earlier, and you can obviously see price first pushing up, which it did just here for a little bit and then came down. And I'm pretty sure I think I cut my stop loss here. It was 12.5 originally, but I cut my stop loss here for something like 9.4. So I saved like 3 pips here. You can obviously see price wasn't doing what I wanted to do, so I did cut my loss a bit. But even though it was in a good area, the only reason why I didn't think it was the best is because it was too close to the daily open. Price needed to expand it first a bit more before actually pushing one way. So obviously I was thinking here, in this situation, okay, I'm gonna take a buy at the bottom of liquidity. So what we saw here is, price grabbed liquidity. I was like, perfect, I should take a buy. But I originally wanted to take a buy here, just from what price did, like left all this liquidity. So I should take a buy here. And in this case, I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna be patient. I'm gonna wait for price to grab the liquidity area here. Right, liquidity area right here. So I just waited patiently because I knew price was gonna come down. It's just, I thought so, and I just knew it. And obviously when this happened, price just wicked me out before it went up. See how that little wick just happened? This little wick occurred. As soon as little wick occurred, it is what it is. I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to hop in again. I'm just going to see what price does. Clearly see price pushed all the way up. And the reason why it would have been at a 1 to 8.1 if it was the 10 pip stop loss, which I should have had a 12.5. Now, I can't even say I would have had a 12.5. This is what I usually would have had. It had enough space. It's just unfortunate. That's just what happened right now. It's just unfortunate. Maybe I could have taken a buy when price was around here, repositioned, and that would have been better. So I have taken a buy somewhere here, and I could have gotten more profits as well. I didn't want to let this opportunity go because you can clearly see what this one did right here. Price started to push up first and then came back down, but here it looked like it was really rejecting this area. So you see what happened? Price literally just wicked me off before pushing up. I let it go, and you can clearly see I would have gotten like a 1.8.1, probably even more if I actually got better, if I was more patient and waited for a better entry. So that's what happened, and those days' lessons is just to be more patient. Let's go to Friday. Okay, Friday's lesson coming along. We can clearly see price was already showing us a perfect buying opportunity, but price on Fridays are a bit weird as well. I should have checked the overall, like what price was doing. Like if I just zoomed out a bit, guys, where do you think price is moving right now? Just from how price is making higher highs, where do you think price is moving? Obviously to the upside. So I should have actually identified that first, and instead of me trying to do the opposite on Fridays because Fridays act a bit weird, it actually went really well if I just would have taken a buy. But I didn't. I had sells because of what price did originally right here at 5:30, because I kind of thought that price does the move earlier than at 6. Like 5:30 right now, this is what would have happened. 5:30 push down. So I was like, okay, price wants to continue going down, because usually when Friday moves one way, it continues going that way. It doesn't really range as much. But in this day, it was a bit different, and price wanted to push down first before it pushed up. And you can clearly see here, this was the range, guys. The range, phase 1, so clear as day. This was the phase 2, which I didn't really acknowledge or recognize. I did sleep through this as well, but I just saw a completely different view, and that was my fault once again. It was so stupid, and I just need to make sure not to sleep in. And yeah, obviously price grabbed all of this liquidity, guys, all of this liquidity. So if I was to take a buy here, the only problem that I would have had was probably just to have a bigger stop loss if price was to wick me out. But if it didn't, perfect for me, cool. 10 pips right here, but I would have had a bigger stop loss just because there was another liquidity waiting right here. Right, so let's just say I had a 12.5. I probably would have had a 15, but in this case, I'm just gonna have a 12.5. If I would have just taken a buy there just because I was impatient once again, let's see what would have happened. So price pushed up. Let's see what happens. Does it come back down? It comes back down during New York. Does nothing, continues to push up. And I remember during this phase, guys, this is when I woke up as well. I saw, okay, so price started to push up, but it hasn't grabbed at least this liquidity or this liquidity. So I'm expecting price to come back down for this liquidity before it pushes up. As you can see, what happens with price is price just continues to go up, because that's the direction of the market. What happened with the market cycles, it did everything perfectly. I just wasn't having a good top-down analysis on Friday, which was my complete fault. So you can clearly see my 2 sells that I did. Instead of me taking the buy, the 2 sells that I did, because this looked like a range, so I waited for the liquidity grab, kind of got more volume in, looked like it was going to sell down at least back to here, which would have been a perfect buy for me to take a buy up, because that's what I thought originally. Obviously originally a buy, but just price missed out this liquidity, so I was thinking price was going to grab it first before pushing up. So I took a sell here. Price just faked me out a bit, started pushing up, and I was just thinking to myself, it is what it is. This is what happened. I came here, touched the daily open price. I was looking for one more sell. which was 7% from daily open above, right? And that was to grab all the liquidity. And funny thing enough, price came back up. It kind of consolidated for a bit. I took a sell here. Instantly, price started to push up. And during this push up, I just thought to myself that, like, when I actually zoomed out, this was the clear phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Right? Why am I going against phase 3 when that's the trend phase? It goes one way. So instantly, I was like, you know what? Let me just cut this for, I think I saved like 4 or 5 pips in this, or 3 pips, something like that. I saved a few pips from this trade just because I was just foolish at this point. I didn't have good top-down analysis, and I was just against the trend in general. So that's why I cut it short. Obviously, price decided to go up even more, and you know, I made a big mistake just not taking a buy with this, because it was absolutely a good setup. I just didn't see it, and that's my fault. It even went with the trend. It went perfectly. So that was my fault, and yeah, that's what I needed to learn. So on Friday, that's what I needed to learn, was just have a better top-down analysis. And if price doesn't move in your direction, because for the first trade I took here, I expected price to push down with a lot of momentum because it was a liquidity over range, and usually price moves a bit faster in those areas. But price was stagnant here for a bit, and then it pushed up. So instantly from this area, I should have probably taken out if price didn't move as fast as I would like it to. There's no harm in not taking a trade than losing a trade, if that makes sense. So that's really what I could have learned in the situation. Just taken out instantly somewhere here, lost a little bit instead of a lot, because price didn't move in my favor as fast as I would like it to. And for this, should have analyzed the situation better, because here could have been seen as a liquidity grab or just a break and retest off the range before it pushes up, which it clearly did that. And yeah, that's really just what I needed to learn. And that's for Friday. And you can clearly see the mistakes that we made. If we just had a better top-down analysis, knew what the trend was going, didn't let too many people talk in our ears, we would have seen way better opportunities to profit from. So that's really how it is, guys. For this whole week, I did some foolish things. I could have made a lot more money, as you can see here. If I just thought to make my stop loss a bit bigger here, would have won. If I just had the right directional bias and I took a trade here, just because price was doing the phase 2, and then grabbed the liquidity from the phase 2 to push to the upside, to fool everyone from selling to buying, I would have obviously been profitable, especially on especially on Tuesday. There were so many good opportunities that were happening. I just didn't see it. So that was just my fault. So that's what I've learned today, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys did, hit that like, subscribe, and I'll probably catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.